Honorable Naomi Wako. Member, we wish you all the best in all the preparation, and we are looking forward.
Come in and let us allow him to introduce himself. And then who are on their way coming. So let us go now. MP Miki West and member of this committee.
Finosiba, Hansard reporter attached to this committee. Thank you.
Abdullah Arale, committee clerk. Wilson Mwangi, fiscal analyst. Thank you very much, Chairman, and to all the committee members for having us here.
Titus from the Office of the President FKF.
Morning, Chair, all present.
The issues stipulated in the 22nd letter is what we want you to give clarity on, so that the committee will have to hear you, and thereafter we will be able to let the members interrogate your presentation. So kindly, just from the sequence of what we asked you to, kindly you can proceed and give us your presentation.
I appear before this Honorable Committee in response to the invitation contained in the letter referenced DDC SNC 2026-017, dated 22nd April 2026 and signed by the Clerk of the National Assembly. I do so as the duly elected President of the Football Kenya Federation in full compliance with the FKF Constitution 2017, the statutes of the Federation and the statutes of FIFA and the regulations of CAF. Before I proceed to address each of the questions posed by the committee, I wish to draw the committee's attention to three important procedural matters that are directly relevant to question 5 as per your letter and to the committee's broader deliberations. Certain matters relating to the internal proceedings of the FKF National Executive Committee of 24th April 2026 are currently the subject of proceedings before the Sports Dispute Tribunal of Kenya, case number SDTSC E028/2026. A conservatory order was issued by the tribunal on the 27th of April 2026, reinstating the effects of the resolution passed at that meeting. So it would be improper and potentially prejudicial to those proceedings for me to address the committee's question, but with fullness it deserves. I will, of course, endeavor to go into as much detail as possible without making sure that we respect the bounds of sub judice rule. FIFA has also formally written to FKF on 26th of April 2026 through its Chief Member Association Officer, Mr. Elkan Mamadov, advising that FIFA and CAF are conducting a formal assessment of the circumstances surrounding the resolutions of 24th April 2026. A copy of FIFA's letter is included in the document pack presented to this committee. This demonstrates that the appropriate international regulatory authority is already engaged and is a powerful signal that the governance framework is working exactly as it should. It is also important to place before this honorable committee that notwithstanding the recent events, the Football Kenya Federation has continued to register key milestones in the development and stabilization of football in the country over the last 1 year. These include, but are not limited by any chance, to the lifting of restrictions by FIFA. And this is as a result of our fiscal discipline and the reform agenda that we have held in FKF over the last 1 year, something that held us back for a very long time. So it is indeed a pleasure to announce that there's no more restrictions from FIFA, which has been there for years. And it is purely because of our fiscal discipline and good governance at FKF. Securing a title sponsor for the FKF Premier League, which is now the SportPesa League, big milestone for Kenyan football. We also secured sponsorship for the first time for the Women Premier League. We also have ongoing planning and coordination of AFCON. We successfully hosted CHAN, and for the first time in the world, not only in Africa but in the world, Kenya hosted the FIFA Series for Women, the first ever FIFA tournament on our Kenyan soil, which is a big, big vote of confidence from the global body. Kenya, Mr. Chairman, as you may be aware.
President,
Yes.
before you proceed,
Yes.
on your second last bullet,
Yes.
ongoing planning and coordination for, is it AFCON or CHAN?
Or AFCON.
So that is a
So
typo.
that is a typo. Apologies for that, Chair. You are right. So that is a typo. It should be AFCON. So, Chair, on qualifications for the women team for AFCON, another major milestone, which will be held in Morocco this August coming up, and Kenya has qualified to compete amongst the best in the world. Launch of the women football strategy in partnership with FIFA was concluded recently, with key resolutions passed on how we will develop the game. So implementation of capacity building programs and international exchange initiatives, including cooperation with Morocco through the Royal Morocco Football Federation. Again, a massive win for Kenya. We have to benchmark with the best in the world for us to be amongst the best. AFCON 2027 will be a historic milestone for East Africa, and Kenya is proud to play a central role in delivering a successful and world-class tournament. On question number 2, Chairman, details of the medical insurance cover for players, officials, and spectators, if any. It is my pleasure to inform the committee. Dear Chairperson, this question requires me to explain the legal and regulatory architecture that governs insurance obligations in international football tournaments, as it is a framework that is often misunderstood in public discourse. All rights, obligations, and operational responsibilities pertaining to the 2027 AFCON vest exclusively in CAF. Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania are host nations operating under the terms of the hosting agreement, and we do not own the tournament. Our obligations are defined and bound by that agreement. On the issue of medical reports, I want to reference the CHAN medical report, which is in the bundle that you have received, which details that. Regarding player insurance, I wish to draw the committee's attention to a well-established principle of international football law that governs this matter. Players participating in AFCON 2027 are not employees of their national teams. They are contracted employees of their parent clubs. Under the FIFA regulations on the status and transfer of players, the primary insurance obligation for a player rests with the employing club, not with the national association. National associations, including FKF, are required to step in and provide insurance cover only in the specific and limited circumstances where a player called to national team duty does not have existing insurance cover from their club. In practice, this situation is rare, as the overwhelming majority of players participating in AFCON are professionals whose clubs maintain comprehensive insurance cover. Spectators' welfare and safety are governed by CAF's stadium safety and event operations protocols. All designated match venues must comply with these protocols as a condition of hosting. Kenya's designated venues, Talanta Stadium and Kasarani, are subject to CAF's inspection and certification requirements, which include emergency response provisions directly related to spectator welfare. On question number 3, the state of emergency medical services, availability of ambulances, trained personnel, and linkage to designated health facilities. Honorable Chairperson, emergency medical preparedness for AFCON 2027 is governed by a comprehensive framework established by CAF that applies to all matches and officials events under the tournament. There is, and this is a very important point, there is a dedicated medical committee within the LOC of each host country that is tasked with all relevant matters in regard to this department. CAF's medical and security protocols, which are mandatory for every AFCON 2027 match across all 3 host nations, specify the following minimum requirements for each match venue. A defined number and grade of medical personnel, including qualified physicians, paramedics, and first aid officers, to be deployed at every match. A specific number of fully equipped ambulances to be positioned at each venue throughout every match, including during, pre-match, and post-match periods. Defined emergency response timelines from first intervention to hospital transfer. Formal linkage arrangements between each match venue and designated tertiary care hospitals, including pre-agreed admission protocols. A documented chain of command for medical decision making from bedside to hospital with named responsible persons at each level. Both Talanta Stadium and Kasarani have been assessed against these standards by CAF inspectors. The assessments have been completed and Kenya's venues have met the requirements set. From assessment, the assessments have been completed and Kenya's venues have met the requirements set. Formal linkage arrangements between both venues and designated hospitals have been established in coordination with the Ministry of Health. CAF has also invested significantly in building emergency response capacity across all 3 host nations. In Kenya, CAF has conducted specialized workshops engaging senior Kenya Police Service commanders, LOC safety officers, stadium stewards, and emergency services coordinators covering crowd management, stadium safety, incident command, and emergency communication. These workshops were attended by senior personnel from both of Kenya's designated venues. In line with the standard CAF tournament practice, full dress rehearsal exercises will be conducted at both Kenyan venues in the months immediately preceding the tournament. These exercises will test all emergency response systems under simulated match conditions, with CAF safety and security observers present to certify readiness before the first match. In summary, Chairman, Kenya's emergency medical services framework for AFCON 2027 meets CAF's mandatory standards. Both venues are assessed, hospital linkages are established, capacity building workshops have been conducted, and full dress rehearsals will be certified by CAF before tournament commences. Question number 4, contingency measures for health-related risks and other unforeseen incidences during the tournament. Honorable Chairperson, no major international sports tournament operates without a comprehensive contingency management framework, and AFCON 2027 is no exception. CAF's tournament management architecture includes a mandatory contingency management plan that is binding on all 3 host nations and on the local organizing committee in each country. It is in this regard the contingency management plan addresses the full range of foreseeable and reasonably unforeseeable risk categories. Medical emergencies, including mass casualty events, cardiac incidences, and infectious disease outbreaks. Security incidences, including crowd disturbance, terrorism threats, and civil disorder. Infrastructure failure, including power outages, structural incidences, and communication breakdown. Natural disasters, including flooding, fire, and seismic events. Tournament-specific risks, including player welfare, emergencies, and match day operational failures. For each category, the plan identifies named responsible persons with defined authority to act, establishes communication trees from venue level through to CAF's central tournament command, and prescribes pre-positioned resources, equipment, personnel, and communication systems that must be in place at each and every venue before each match. Kenya's local organizing committee has prepared its national contingency plan in accordance with CAF's framework, with dedicated contingency and safety officers appointed who liaise directly with CAF's safety and security department. The Kenya contingency plan has been submitted to CAF and is reviewed and updated on the schedule agreed in the host agreement. I am pleased to report that all review submissions have been made on time. The contingency planning framework also benefits from the active involvement of the Government of Kenya through the Ministry of Health, the Kenya Police Service, the Kenya Red Cross, and the National Disaster Operations Center, all of which are formally integrated into the AFCON 2027 emergency response architecture for matches played in Kenya. Dear Chairman, on question number 4, Kenya has fully developed CAF certified contingency, in summary, certified contingency management framework for AFCON 2027, integrating government emergency services, the local organizing committee officers, CAF protocols, and venue operations into a single tested response architecture. On question number 5, the nature and status of the ongoing internal disputes within FKF, their potential impact on planning, decision-making, stakeholder confidence, and compliance with continental football governing bodies' requirements. Honorable Chairperson, I will address this question with the seriousness and clarity it deserves. However, I must first note that certain aspects of this matter are currently before the Sports Dispute Tribunal of Kenya and the High Court, and I am therefore obliged to exercise caution as not to prejudice those proceedings. Accordingly, my response will be provided in good faith while remaining within the bounds of the sub judice rule and without prejudice in the ongoing process. I'll give a short chronology of events that transpired that found us in the situation we are facing today. On 20th of April, some bloggers put out a fictitious story online titled The Chan Insurance Scandal, involving apparently the FKF president. This was picked by mainstream media, both via print, which is the Standard newspaper, and televised on 23rd April 2026. Please note the time period between each event. On or before the 24th of April 2026, a section of the FKF National Executive Committee purported to convene a meeting of the NEC and passed a resolution calling upon me as FKF President, upon Mr. Abdullahi Yusuf, a nominated NEC member, and upon Sir Dennis Gisheru, the Acting General Secretary, to step aside from our respective offices on a provisional basis pending investigation. I wish to state as follows. Honorable Chairman, I wish to state for the record that I have not stepped aside. I remain the duly elected President of the Football Kenya Federation, having been entrusted with this mandate, by the democratic will of the FKF membership. I will continue to discharge my responsibilities and serve my full constitutional term in strict accordance with the FKF Constitution. Further, the purported resolution of 24th April 2026 lacks constitutional validity and are therefore, in my view, null and void. And in this regard, I'm still the president and represented this country in the just concluded FIFA Congress that was held in Vancouver. I wish to draw the committee's attention to a matter of significant importance. FIFA has not been silent on this issue either. On the 26th of April 2026, FIFA, through its the Chief Member Association Officer, Mr. Elkan Mamadov, formally communicated to the FKF National Executive Committee that in accordance with CAF, it is that in coordination with CAF, it is undertaking a formal assessment of the circumstances surrounding the resolution of the 24th April 2026, including its compliance with FKF Constitution and applicable statutes. FIFA further requested the submission of comprehensive documentation from the concerned NEC members to be submitted by 1st of May 2026. A copy of this correspondence has been included in the document pack presented to this honorable committee. The significance of this intervention is clear. It demonstrates that the global governing body of football has taken note of the event in question and considers them sufficiently serious to warrant formal review. This is not indicative of satisfaction with the process that transpired. Rather, it reflects a considered need to examine whether proper governance and constitutional procedures were upheld. Honorable Chairperson, the committee has specifically asked whether this dispute has impacted planning, decision-making, stakeholders' confidence, and compliance with CAF and FIFA requirements. My response is clear and unequivocal. I was entrusted with this office to ensure the continuity, stability, and growth of football in Kenya, and I remain fully committed to that mandate. While there have been attempts to disrupt the operations of the Federation, including interference with our financial systems, these matters have been addressed through the appropriate legal channels, and the Federation continues to operate fully within the law and in strict adherence to its constitutional framework. I wish to confirm the following, dear Chairman. All FKF leagues and competitions, including the FKF Premier League, National Super League, and county competitions across all 47 counties, are proceeding without interruption. All national team programs remain on schedule. All FIFA and CAF funded development initiatives continue uninterrupted. The FKF Secretariat remains fully operational and continues to discharge its mandate effectively. FIFA has been kept fully informed, and FKF remains engaged with both FIFA and CAF in full compliance with their requirements. Our commercial partners, including Safaricom, SportPesa, Mozartbet, and Azam TV, have been briefed and remain fully committed to their partnerships. These facts demonstrate that the Federation's core operations, governance, and obligations, both domestic and international, remain intact and functional. I wish to assure all Kenyans that I remain fully committed to the responsibility entrusted to me. I will continue to work diligently to ensure that our football development agenda remains on track and uninterrupted, even as the relevant processes take their due course. Our focus remains clear: to serve the game, uphold its integrity, and deliver sustained progress for Kenyan football at all levels. Chairman, Honorable Chairperson, on question number 6, on any other matters that are maybe of importance to the tournament, which is AFCON, I wish to use this final opportunity to place before the committee several matters that I believe are of direct importance to Kenya's successful hosting of AFCON 2027. Honorable Chairperson, I wish to address this committee candidly on a matter that sits at the intersection of governance and tournament preparedness. Kenya's successful hosting of AFCON 2027 is fundamentally dependent on the stability and constitutional integrity of Football Kenya Federation. At this critical stage, the biggest risk we face with an unstable FKF is suspension by the World Football Governing Body FIFA. With AFCON 2027 approaching, this would have far-reaching consequences. It would not only undermine Kenya's standing in international football, but could also place our hosting rights at risk, jeopardize the significant public investment in infrastructure, disrupt the commercial ecosystem supporting the tournament, and negatively impact the broader development of football across the country. Finally, I extend this committee an open invitation for ongoing engagement with FKF on football development in this country and AFCON 2027 preparations. I commit to providing this committee with quarterly preparedness reports should there be need, and I am willing to appear before this committee at any time to brief members on material developments. FKF values its relationship with Parliament, and we use this committee as a critical partner in ensuring Kenya delivers a world-class tournament in 2027. Kenya will host AFCON 2027 with honor, with excellence, and with full support of all institutions of government, football, and civil society. The Football Kenya Federation, under my leadership, is fully committed to that outcome. I thank this honorable committee for the opportunity to address you today. I remain available to respond to any further questions from honorable members. I also present to each member of this committee a document file which you have in front of you now. And I conclude by reaffirming my administration's commitment to accountability, transparency, and continued advancements of football in Kenya. I have appeared before this honorable committee in good faith and have addressed its questions fully and candidly. I remain available for any further engagements the committee may require. The Football Kenya Federation stands ready to work in close partnership with Parliament, government, CAF, and all stakeholders to ensure AFCON 2027 is delivered successfully and to the highest standard and becomes a defining moment for football in East Africa. Chairman, with those remarks, maybe to just bring to your attention also a new development that after 1 year of pursuing Safaricom to restart the famous Chapadimba, we had a successful meeting, but unfortunately we had a few of our members who went to Safaricom to try and disrupt the Chapadimba tournament, which shows the dangers of interference in our programs, and it highlights the urgency in which we may need to address those matters. And with that, Chairman, I humbly submit. Thank you.
So that at some point you respond.
That you are fully prepared to handle in case of any infectious diseases. Remember, we had COVID-19, and you never know what else can break out. How? I want to understand how you are prepared. And also, whenever you serve youths are bundled together with the people living with disability and women. When I say that, I mean it's a sensitive docket that if you are not careful, you bring the whole nation down. we have had some disturbing news, and I want you also to come clear on how you handled the FKF stuff, you know. Yeah, just that.
We've listed Talanta and Kasarani as the venue which we are going to hold competitions. What is the status of the training grounds? And how many are they in our country? Can we know specifically where they are and how many they are? Then the other issue, you have got 12 NEC members. I can only see 2 here. Why others not attending? And also the vice president, why is he not present? And this is a very important matter. Then the other issue, of course, Mike Ramba. What role was he playing? Mike Ramba, I want to get some clarification.
Thank you very much, Chair. First, I want to appreciate President Hussein for his well-elaborated report to this committee. And I believe he is very specific to the questions related to our letter regarding the preparation for the AFCON. Mr. President, I believe what you have penned down is a true picture of what we expect as Kenyans. And Chair, I want to thank you. We hosted Chan 2 years ago, and at some point it depended with this committee to intervene to save some situation. This time round we are too clever. We'll start early to engage you and be aware that we are going to engage you going further on this issue of AFCON, because it's very important for us. Chair, I want to get guidance. There is the Pamoja project cost joint structure which was done in Kampala. Kindly share with us the minutes and the dates, the specific dates when that meeting took place, because that will guide us on how to evaluate our forecast. And then also, Chair, you need to share with us the agreement for CAF ownership of the tournament, so that they don't run away from responsibility and throw it to CAF. Because if you are the local federation and some things goes wrong, it will be not to the image of the federation, but to the image of the entire country. So I've seen you have put it very clearly on CAF ownership of the project. We don't dispute that, but also share with us the agreement to be sure that you will not hide within technicality of ownership of CAF, which I believe you have, so that we can be able to do that. The other issue is that the issue of dedicated medical committee with the LOC as the host country. Chair, this issue of medical, we need to get further clarity. I believe you have really explained who are the real owners of this insurance. It's the clubs themselves. And I believe with the players, they need to certify that requirement that the clubs they come from, they surely have a fully medical insurance. But also, Chair, if a player is coming from Donyusabuk Football Club, from the grassroots down there, whereby the club itself cannot even afford the referee, he has to be taken care of by the chairman, cannot afford the coach, he has to be taken care of by CNN or Karoli or Amanu. You know, we have those players coming from very low clubs. What is the federation doing about it? Because it's very critical, so that on exceptional scenarios of that player, we expect the federation to kick in and take up this player to make sure that in case of anything, he's well covered. So we would wish to get that insight. In general, Chair, the President has put the country into the phase, and I believe what he has told us, he's going to quarterly brief this committee. I think we'll put it on our schedule so that we don't fall into the trap we fall like last time. And I believe that we should be able to move forward. The last thing is this, Mr. President. Despite your first statement on the legal matters on the river, we respect that. What efforts are you making to reconcile with the other group? Because human beings differ in ideologies, find themselves into very different divergences. And why I'm asking this, Chair, is that he has alluded it very clearly that if we are not careful, we risk the ban of FIFA. And Chair, I was with you in, was it in, when Mheshimiwa Babu Namwamba was the CS. Chair himself here personally took the issue of the ban of FIFA head on, and if it was not for him, and I want to thank you, I like thanking people when they can hear me. It was very difficult to get the ban lifted. So, Mr. President, one cardinal expectations of Kenyans is to have a resolution mechanism which will not allow this country to go to that route of being banned. Last but not Chair, I just want to look at Mr. President on the face and ask him this question. Do you foresee interference with cartels and people with personal or conflict interest to put the federation into the situation they are in? If they are, I know you don't want to, we don't want to get into the issues of court, but you can see our chairman drawing the curtain, and he'll share with this committee before we go on to our report.
I think Mr. President kindly respond to those, then thereafter we'll have another time.
How to handle infectious diseases. Honorable Chair, that is why I have specialists in every committee, and I will not sit in front of this committee and pretend to be a medical expert. I am not. So I may not be qualified really to respond in detail on how we can stop infectious diseases, but there are protocols within the committee that have been laid out that will, of course, help to monitor, assess, and mitigate on any risks pertaining to crowd, wherever there's a crowd gathering, and especially for an event of this magnitude. So I can assure the committee that the relevant departments within the local organizing committee and CAF structures have got the right personnel and the right expertise to deal with health matters, especially on infectious diseases. So that would be a question that can comprehensively, I think, be responded to by the relevant committee within the organization structure of the LOC. On the matter to do with sensitivity of youth, I agree with the Honorable Member that it is very important that we consider youth development, and that is why I was very excited yesterday when we agreed with Safaricom to launch the 5th edition of the Chapadimba tournament, because it covers under 15 youth, both boys and girls, Honorable Chair, across the country, across all the 48 branches, and that is why it was truly disheartening to see a member trying to stop it, or trying to stop such a beautiful initiative. So I am cognizant of these issues, and we are going to ensure that all initiatives involving youth, the disabled and women, takes frontline in terms of our preparedness and initiative. Honorable Chair, also for the first time in response to this question, I'd like to reiterate the fact that the women leagues have gotten sponsorship in terms of prize money, and each team within the Women Premier League for the first time got a stipend from our media partner, Cape Media, TV47, and Radio 47 stepped up through my intervention to support the women leagues. So that is a big, big milestone for us. It has never happened before. So I hope that has answered the question on the sensitivity of youth involvement and women. On Talanta Stadium and Kasarani and training grounds, we have a total of about 11 stadiums, I think, in total for training, which are being developed. So you have Ulinzi Sports Complex, you have the Police Circle, you have the Moi International Sports Center Kasarani, the annex, you have the Moi Sports International Sports Center Annex 2, so we have 2 at Kasarani. You have the Kenya Academy of Sports, the first ground. You have Kenya Academy of Sports, the second ground. So you have 2 grounds with Kenya Academy of Sports that are being developed. And we have Utalii College, we have Talanta Sports City Stadium, which will have 1. We're trying to see if 2 will be viable. And you have Kirikiti Stadium, also earmarked as training centers. Honorable Chair, these are very important, it's a very important question in this regard. As a legacy, and I thank the member who has raised the question, as a legacy project for AFCON, what remains after the tournament? We are struggling right now to host our leagues and competitions. Once AFCON is done, the legacy that remains behind, the infrastructure projects that are being built, will enable us to sustain the leagues and competitions for the federation moving forward, enabling us to commercialize the sport. So these training facilities become a critical infrastructure support system for our leagues and competitions moving forward. Those are the 11 facilities that are being developed under during our preparations for AFCON 2027. On the question of so training grounds is AFCON. So our member has dear chairman, the member has asked about other NEC members not present here, and the vice president of FKF is not here. I wish, again, without jeopardizing the ongoing cases in court, I just want to reiterate that we've got a few apologies. There's a member, a NEC member, nominated NEC member who had an emergency, who could not attend today, so he gave his apology. He has a sick parent in hospital. We also have a NEC member who has traveled out of the country. He's in the UK at the moment and was not able, of course, to attend this session. But also, Chairman, the letter was specific to inviting the President, the General Secretary, and the technical team, not the members of EXCO. So I think that is also another reason that we came with who we were asked to come with, who would be relevant to this particular meeting. In regards to the Vice President, it is in the public domain that there was an attempted coup while I was away in Kampala. Surprisingly enough, we were in that in those meetings together. I never got any indication there was trouble in the backyard, but it is what it is, and I think based on that, then they were not able to attend this particular meeting, but I went with the invitation letter, dear chairman. So I just followed the instructions of the committee. But also out of choice, they may not have wished to maybe attend. There's a question on a name that has been brought about the insurance. I think Mike Rabah, as asked by a member, dear chairman, was the CEO of the LOC. We had the CEO of the federation as well, who was the contact person with CAF as well in the insurance issue. And I don't have any comments on this because it's a matter, I think, under investigation now, and I think it is with the EACC, and we have submitted all relevant documentation to them, which they have, which includes all the communication between the relevant parties. So I don't, I think the link is from the media reports, and I think what was carried in the mainstream media in the Standard newspaper. So I really don't have much to comment about that because I don't know any details in regards to his participation or not. But what I have done is I have submitted all relevant documents to That would be my response. On the issue of the meeting in Kampala, the meeting was convened by CAF. So I think there should be minutes somewhere. I haven't personally seen the minutes, but we should be able to extract the minutes. The Cabinet Secretary of Sports was the lead from the Kenyan side in that particular meeting. So the Ministry of Sports was present, and we will liaise with them on the request to provide the minutes and also the host agreement. I don't think it should be a problem, and we should be able to provide these things to the committee in liaison with the Ministry of Youth Affairs, Creative Economy and Sports. On the issue, the next question was, what is the Federation doing in regards to insurance of players from underprivileged communities? Dear Chairman, FKF for the last 1 year has been working on its governance structures. We are trying to commercialize the sport. For a very long time, football has not been considered as an economic activity. It has been always been referred to sports as extracurricular activity. And this has been one of the biggest challenges we suffer in sports. And when there is no revenue, when there is no income, it becomes very difficult to be able to achieve the standards that you have elsewhere in the world. If you look at first world countries that have got developed leagues who can afford to have these benefits in place, they have built the sport over years. They have made sure that they have revenue streams that can sustain the sport during that period. Unfortunately for Kenya, we are not yet there. We're the only country in the region that doesn't even have the technical center yet, and we are working day and night to make sure that we have that in place. Second, commercialization of the sport will ensure more revenue streams, will ensure we are financially stable, and this will trickle down to the clubs, and that will ensure that then all players and their welfare is also taken care of. So it is something that we want to do as FKF, and we must do it, I accept. However, it will take time, and it will need concerted effort, it will need support systems from everybody, private sector, government, this honorable committee, for us to be able to achieve it. Otherwise, I am afraid that we may not make significant strides if we keep going back to wrangles and to unnecessary fights. Honorable Chair, on the day of the coup attempt, I am on record having, the day before, having tried to convene an informal session, which I have done several times before, to discuss matters of importance and matters that require urgent decisions or intervention, to just form a camaraderie within this team. But I strongly believe that I took you through the chronology of events that happened, and you can see it was very well choreographed. One day, a blog is put on the social media. The next day, newspaper picks it up. The third day, the coup happens, or coup attempt happens. So you can see it was a sequence of events. I tried several times to make calls to find an opportunity for those discussions, but I think we got to a point where it was not viable anymore, and I agreed with the rest of the team that we should then let due process take its course. So to answer the question directly, yes, I did attempts, several attempts, not one, not two, several, but it seems to be making the situation worse, so I decided to desist and to ensure that due process is followed, and ultimately the truth will come out. On the FIFA ban issue, it's a big concern for me. FIFA is strict on processes, internal procedures, and of course, to me, it would be a shame to see Kenya going back into those dark ages. And ultimately, internal interference, unfortunately, on matters to do with the federation leads to this type of sanctions. And I want to reiterate that FKF has got internal mechanisms on how we deal with each and every situation. They cannot be prosecuted in the public domain or through third parties. If we allow that, then I think inevitably we will be facing the wrath international regulatory and parent bodies like FIFA and CAF. You have mentioned, a chairman member has mentioned about interference. Maybe there is, maybe there's not, but I strongly believe that there could be maybe interested parties who might want to derail the good work we've done, or based on other interests, try to get us out of AFCON. So, meaning individuals who are within the organizing committee of AFCON. So I would not want to make assumptions, but I cannot confidently say that there's a specific cartel or people who want to derail FK for now, other than the ones who have publicly shown what their intentions, unfortunately, are.